let's give the credence to those who have won the multiple Grand Slams between
For sure.
Sabalenka and
And
Swiatek,
Iga,
and
Coco, and so on.
so on and so on. But when you look at tools for tools,
Mm.
I go, that's what top three tennis looks like. Welcome to another edition of the Best of Three podcast. I'm Alvin, that's Tori, and we're here to talk a little WTA Finals. Elena Rybakina just went coast to coast in Riyadh, breaking bones and taking names, and walked away with a nice little pretty paycheck of $5.3 million or so. So
Good for her.
not bad for 1 week's worth of work, but
Tough sledding. Did
yeah,
not take a loss the whole
whole
week,
tournament. Yeah,
8 days, however the heck long it is. I read somewhere that 11, 12 matches consecutive to end the year and beat. I want to say that what I read was 6, and she beat Sabalenka. So 7 straight top 10 opponents in those 12 matches.
yeah. She
7 straight. Not. I mean, think about straight.
yeah.
And we're
I
not
mean,
talking she beat 10, 9, 8, 7. I mean, she beat 4, she beat 3, she beat 1. I mean, she went through all of them. I mean, whoever's in front of her. And I just that from being the last one in to not just win anything, that in itself is tough. But to beat him in the fashion that she did, and to obviously be technically number 9 coming in, you know what I mean, to this thing, that says huge things for 2026.
I think that's an interesting way to look at it, thinking about next year. So I want to get there, but watching Elena Rybakina, I think we've talked about her ad nauseum on this podcast. As I know specifically that I've said I find her to be the 3rd best player in the world, right? Like, but behind Sabalenka and Iga, like when I look at the players that are in the field, I go, that one right there, that's 3rd on most days. Some days you could look at her and say she is the best player in the world. But let's give credence to those who have won multiple. Right. Let's give the credence to those who have won the multiple Grand Slams between
For
Sabalenka and Swiatek,
Iga,
and
Coco, and so on. Yeah.
so on and so on. But when you look at tools for tools, I go, that's what top 3 tennis looks like. And the knock on Elena this year, and probably in the last 2 or 3 years, is just her inability to be consistent and finish events, right? She'll look like this version of herself rounds 1 through 3, and then something happens, right?
Right.
And in the last month,
she can snatch victory from the
or
she can snatch
victory
from the jaws of victory.
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
But in the last few weeks or so, like you mentioned in the Open there, I think 11 matches in a row won now. And she's beaten the likes of, even before this event, right? She beat Paolini, she beat Alexandra, she beat she's recently beaten Sabalenka as well in the last, maybe not in this last streak, but to walk through this tournament the way she did, playing, I think, the best version of her tennis. Right, which is all
and indoor tennis, of course. It speaks to her style and her ball strike and her physique. I mean, she's 6 foot tall, for crying out loud, and she moves incredibly well. So when you have that, that can make some dangerous situations for a lot of people. Alvin, I made a comment last time, I think it was last time, and I called her the Murat Safin of the current.
You did,
and at the time, I hate comparisons because I feel like we throw them out too quickly. I feel like we'll give an upstart the nod, in this case, Rybakina versus Safin. She's, of course, clearly a top player, and congratulations to her on a great week of tennis. But clearly I'm shading Murat a little bit with the Grand Slams won and his history in the game. The comparison I'm making was, she is the player no one wants to play on her good day, on Atlanta's good day. And that regardless of your Grand Slams, to your point earlier, it doesn't matter. You could have won all 4. If you're playing Elena Rybakina on her good day, the ball is in her court.
Right.
And that was Safin, right? Fed knew it. Nadal knew it. Novak, Novak was a bit younger for that whole tier for those years when Safin was lurking in the water, so to speak. But they all knew that if Murat's on, it's over. And when multiple Grand Slam champs say that, have that level of respect, to me, that was what my comment was, and I stand by that comment for Elena Rybakina, especially this week. You heard it right here, Alvin. I think you're being kind, and I don't want to get too far ahead into the year review, but she kicked 2 players out of the top 4 this week, in my opinion. And I feel like she did so in such a fashion that she showed what she can do, which is clearly she had a good week of tennis and had a good last 2 weeks of tennis. But she did it in such a fashion that showed, if I'm playing like I should, you can't beat me. That sounds like a simple statement on the surface, but I want to really drill down on this. You cannot beat me. I can beat myself. I can have my serve errors like I normally do. I can beat you off both wings. I'm fast. I'm 6 foot tall. I cover the court like no other. Alvin, she doesn't take a lot of crazy chances.
No, not
She
really.
drills cross-court forehand winners. She goes through you, wider than you, deeper than you, and she takes that point and has that hold, that little bit of a hold on the forward. You don't know where she's going. And she catches people flat-footed. Let me say that again. She catches number 1, number 4, number 3 players in the world flat-footed. Not you and me.
Yeah.
Top current active Grand Slam champ winning players flat-footed. What that tells me is that ball had so much heat on it and was so well hidden with the front shoulder that you didn't know where it was going. And it didn't matter. You probably wouldn't have got there anyway. So when I tell you, and you talk about top 4, Alvin, I'm putting her 3, and that's just with an asterisk to say, only reason we're not putting her higher is because she hasn't won a slam yet. But I think
she did win. She won Wimbledon 2022. So I think that's the caveat, though. Like, she has won a slam. She has shown us that I can put together 7 wins over the course of 2 weeks. Like, and that's usually the thing where you go, okay, you can win it at the 500 level. You can do well at the 1000s, but the putting it together to win a Grand Slam is a whole different deal. She kind of did it in reverse order. Like, she won the Grand Slam in 2022, and then
that's why I forgot about.
And then she finaled the Australian Open in 2023, like 6 months later, right? And that was a fantastic
and then had
match.
that whole issue where she was in and out with the coach, and coach was getting banned for tournaments. And then she took her walkabout. That's right.
So I think there's something to be mentioned there, though, like the Elena Rybakina experience, right? Like you mentioned, she can take the racket out of anyone's hands. She's probably one. Amanda Anisimova doesn't really do it to Aryna Sabalenka in the same way, but she is able to put Aryna on her tail. Like when you watch them trade ground strokes, it's like you can see sometimes Aryna is like holding on to the rope for dear life. Like, I can't get a hold of this rally. This woman's ball is actually bigger than the ball that I'm producing going the other direction, and that doesn't happen to Aryna Sabalenka.
No.
But I think that feeds your case for the Murat Safin comp, though. Like, that's it. Like, and when she's on her day, and more for her when it's not really often about the tennis being played. It's the person how she brings herself to the court on that particular day.
Yep.
And I think we have to keep in mind that, like, she's a professional tennis player, but she is also a young woman, a young person, like at age 26 years old, right? Like, she's hitting her prime right now, but still, if there's something going on in your personal life off the court, it can have an effect on the way that you perform your job, right? So,
sure.
Okay, so we take that to be what it is, and with her coaching turmoil over the better part of the last 18 months, seemingly resolving itself in the last few months with Vukov being reinstated, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the public or the tennis world thinks about that relationship, it seems to work for them because Vukov back, Elena, boom, up and to the right.
Right.
What are you gonna say? What am I gonna say?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying anything, but hey, but keep it up and look forward to seeing more in 2026. I want to expound, not push back, expound on your point about taking the racket out of the hand. I watched a good bit of all the matches. I went back and rewatched several highlights a few times, and I came away with something I don't often see.
Okay.
And Rybakina has an ability that I have not seen much before. The closest thing I saw in this level, and I'm going to speak to it in a second, was when Naomi beat Serena.
Okay.
It was the ability to take the harder hitters' best shot, a combination of absorbing and, and redirecting and adding a little extra,
So glad you mentioned this.
and took it back through, okay, the other side. The point I want to speak to, because I want you to speak to, I'm sure you got some thoughts. When I'm a big hitter, aka Arena Sabalenka, right? My back swing is pretty large.
Mm-hmm.
My front swing, by definition, is pretty large because
Yep.
that racket speed's got to keep going somewhere. When a person takes that ball with a little bit more of a compact swing and hits through the court back through me, I'm still in the recoil, if you will,
Right.
the counter load, I used to call it, of my previous shot. So by definition, when it comes back, I'm doing the matrix simply because I wasn't finished. My overall shot was not finished or had just finished by the time that ball's returned.
Mm-hmm.
You typically see this when a player has just come down, landed on their left foot if they're right-handed, and the ball is drilled at them on the return of serve. And now you have to kind of somehow maneuver, smother. You know, we talk about the Nicole Vita step where you kind of take this one knee down approach and kind of basically do a on the rise, one step smother shot where you're getting down with low to the ground and taking the ball early. Shout out to Nicole Vita, by the way, back in the day. But what's now happening is that's happening off the ground. You went all in on a ground stroke that you thought was juicy enough to hit, and you paid the price for it because that juicy came back bigger, deeper, and cleaner. You cannot hit a big shot without having a pretty big swing. But Elena does it in a way where she has a little bit of a smaller, a little more of a compact swing, just as live of an arm. And Alvin, she has taken away your time, punishing you for hitting a big shot with a big swing.
Right.
It's just the craziest level of time efficiency or time conservation, I don't know, whatever term you want to come up with, that she takes away your time and punishes you for the decision to hit bigger. Every big hitter wants to do what? Hit big.
Mm-hmm.
And what does she do? She punishes you for it. Then she redirects you when she needs to, and even her open stances in the corners, Alvin, they look like she had time. I ran a little short on time. I had to go down the line this time. Not going down the line late, slappy, off balance. No, you know what? I got to go down the line this time. That's the high percentage play for me right now. She's playing that well with pace, Alvin, and taking your time away in the process.
So
that you don't see every day.
Yeah, so it's like it's not just she's doing it really well. And I think it was on full display this week because of the other players that she was playing in succession, right? Like we got the best of the best out here, right? It's like popping into the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam off of in round one, right? So, but I think what I started to notice is like not just with Elena, but also in the Anisimova Sabalenka match, it's like we often talk about the ability to, I'm not saying necessarily counter punch or counter punish, but like how well do you defend against pace? But it's not really that. It's how well do you counter pace? Like, and that's to your point. Like, all of these women are hitting the ball so big, and I think Amanda Anisimova is a really good example here. Not only because Arena played them back-to-back matches, but she can do it off of one wing really well off the backhand. She can shorten it up, right? She can redirect pace there. Not so great on the forehand. She needs a little more time, a little more traditional build up. Where Elena, on the other hand, is willing to pull short, take back on both sides without sacrificing pace, right? She's taking that pace, she's redirecting, and she's just it's like watching someone play Pong, right? Or pinball or something like that. It's like in one way, out the other way, without
Yep.
without really sacrificing any cleanliness or power on the stroke. It's like, is that the next evolution of the women's game that we're starting to see?
1000%. And we've seen different iterations of it. Iga did it to a large extent when she first came on tour with the return game and taking the ball so early.
Right.
People couldn't handle it. Paolini is just, and I don't know shade on Iga, Paolini is just a shorter, more athletic at times version, right, in terms of trying to take balls that much earlier. And now you've got the return of the big hitter. All these women are tall and they're big hitters. I mean, from Madison to Amanda to Arena, these are some tall women. So I mean, they're bringing heat, they're covering court, and they are striking the ball. I don't know my conversions as well in kilometers per hour, but they're hitting 170, 180, ground strokes. I mean, they are punishing the darn ball on certain things, and maybe not that high on the serve. Maybe that serves, but the forehands and backhands are coming right behind. I know they're hitting high 80s, low 90s forehands and backhands. So that being said, and you mentioned Amanda and Arena when they played, but you can see the body blows happening between those two. That was a slugfest. Both are hurting and getting hurt by set pace.
Yep.
Rybakina seems to be more comfortable in those kind of rallies, has time to step in, her footwork's cleaner, sharper. It was really clear to me when I rewatched the Pegula match where Jess was redlining a good bit of the time. Buggy whipping, Jess hardly ever buggy whip. She hardly has to.
I can't even imagine seeing Jessica Pegula buggy whip. Like, I don't have a mental memory of it.
This is what I'm saying. And so when she's buggy whipping, kind of falling back and taking, Jessica has pretty compact strokes herself and doesn't sacrifice much pace when she tags with the ball on both wings. She had to. A little bit of falling back, a little bit of losing balance. The ball was just coming out of that fast. And hey, no, hats off to JPEG for taking a tough three. But just so that you can appreciate what I'm saying, Alvin, when you feel like you're redlining, right? It's just something that you just don't see that often. And so I wanted to mention that because I feel like that's why I feel like the kudos are worth it's worth us pouring copious praise on this, because she has brought a level now, a bit of it's a minor leap now, not a quantum leap just yet, but do it at a slam and do it over the course of time at a slam in 26. To me, that'll really prove to me that it'll truly be that level of a quantum leap. But she is starting to show people you can read faster, hit cleaner, move better. Very similar to what Sinner's doing on the men's side, but then she's still bringing howitzers on both sides. So
Right.
it's not like she's sacrificing anything in the process. She's just doing what you're doing a little bit closer to the baseline, a little faster. Oh, and by the way, she's 6 feet tall and moves well. So, that's the point. You run out of
and
run
does
out of
serve
ways to
serve like she's got somewhere to be as well. Like
and has a serve. And a serve in 115 to 120.
Well, I mean, I think that is the true differentiator, and why you can never really count her out, is because she can get herself in and out of service games quicker than anyone else on the women's tour. Like, she steps up and expects to hit an ace per game. And that is not necessarily something. I know Arena's got a pretty big, obviously Arena has a fantastic serve, but I think serving for easy points off of aces and serve winners, service winners, that is her special gift. Her special gift. And the rest of her
and
game
yet still gets broken. Quite a bit. So that just shows when she gets that part down. If I go back and look at all the stats and all the matches, and I'm in the IBM room at the end of the tournament and getting all the stats, that number jumps off the page of looking at some of the stats and some of the matches. I mean, some of the break points saved are like stupid, 14 of 30. I mean, you're like, how do you have 30 break points against you? You know what I mean? And that's for a lot of them, probably with the exception of Sabalenka, who served a very cool 75 to 80% for the tournament. So I say that to say she still has a lot of room for improvement, but she's still breaking you like it's going out of style. And she can still average, I think she was averaging between 10 and 15 aces a game, a match.
Yeah.
So when the serve is on, right? Oh, hello.
Right. And she's also,
it didn't matter the player.
And she also showed off her dexterity at the net as well. Like, was able to come forward, like take a lot of those getting into those kind of side to side rallies, go line, come in, finish off with a nice open court volley or a drop volley. Like she showed
Yep.
a little bit of everything. Like she was in full
Yep.
flow,
Right.
almost the entirety of the tournament. Short of that,
Right.
maybe that first set against Iga. Besides that, like
Right.
she was lights out. I would love to
Right.
see her against Amanda in earnest. I know they played in the very
Right.
first match of the event, but they kind of going back macro, my thoughts on the event itself. Like I
Yep.
don't know if I mentioned this beforehand. I love this event. I love the
Yep.
idea of this event, and I understand
Yep.
that there's a difference between the way we as fans, you know, enjoy this event from home versus the way that it actually happens in person, right? It's a very small stadium. It is some level of full. I think it's like 4,200 capacity, but so
Wow. Yep.
it's a small stadium, but
Yep.
um, and maybe there is something to the idea that there aren't a lot of like no one's a home favorite there. Like
Right.
there's no one
Right.
that anyone's inherently going to cheer for
Right.
in the
Right.
arena. They're just trying to cheer for good tennis.
Right.
But from my standpoint, I remember that old event. I think it was maybe a Georgia event or a Southern event, top 16s,
Of
where you
course.
had to. I think it was maybe in
In
Augusta.
Augusta.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
So
in
like
Disgusting. Shout out
yeah,
to my boy Craig Jones who ran that tournament.
Jonesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like to qualify for an event like that where you go into it in the very beginning from the very first match, you're talking
Right.
about like the top 16 players in the I think it was in the South, right? Was it
So,
South, the top
yep.
16 players in the section?
Yep.
Like this event, you got the top 8 women in the world, so it's effectively you're starting from the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam, except for you don't have the
Right.
benefit of any of week 1 to
Lead up
get yourself
matches.
into. Like
Sure.
and so
Sure.
you saw that early, like, Paolini came in a little sick. Okay, maybe this isn't her event anyways, right? Indoor hard courts,
Right.
fine. Um,
Madison
even
came in, dinged up.
Madison dinged up,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Lucky to get 2 matches out of her. And then, I think Jessica and Coco both, they played a tough match against each other, but like this isn't I mean, Coco won it last year, so let's put that out there. But
Yep.
with the other 4 players playing at the top of their game, I think Amanda Anisimova kind of throwing a nice little wrench into this mix of
100%.
players.
Spanner in the works. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
It made for something really, really interesting. And I know
Right.
there's only a handful of, indoor events on the women's side towards the back end of this year. But like I was thinking about it as we go forward, like we don't have an indoor Grand Slam, right?
Right. Right.
True indoor Grand Slam. Like all of it's
Sure.
obviously they all have
We have some coverage, right?
we got some roofs here and there, but like a
Yeah.
true indoor Grand Slam, it is the weird other surface, other scenario. But this tournament almost feels like a fifth slam in its own way, right? You've got
Yep.
these great
Yep.
players, and it's a sprint from the very first match. There's no
100%.
playing a qualifier to get yourself warmed up.
Yep.
We practice for a couple days. First match, everything matters if you want to see yourself holding that check at the end of the tournament. So, um, I'm a big fan of it. I
No,
really,
it's
really
a
enjoy
great
it.
event. And hats off to Elena. And again, Miss Consistent, Arena Sabalenka. I mean, once again goes the distance, once again darn near defends her seed all the way through, got to the finals itself, obviously, and had some great matches. I really enjoyed Arena playing Amanda. That was a great match to me. Both two the absolute slugfest, that
Yeah.
match, and it was great to see good tennis. And we're back, and again, you can't say enough about it. Going from ninth of 8 to winning the whole thing, and didn't take a loss the whole time. It was just really good tennis. Looking forward to what this bodes for 2026. I made a quick point, and you can pause me now if you want. I do feel she's disrupting 2 people out of the 4. So tell me if you want me to keep going.
We can keep going. The top 4 right now are Sabalenka, Swiatek, Golf, and Anisimova. So I said I think she's the third best player. I feel good about her being at third because she does go back and forth with Arena. Like they've split. I mean, of the last 7 times they've played, it's now
Yep.
4-3 Rybakina, right? So like that is a true rivalry right there. Iga's has had the better of that matchup. I think she's won 5 of the last 6 matchups or something like that between her and Rybakina outside of this week. So
Throw all past everything out. Forget everything we said up to this point right here.
okay,
Soul Food, Key and Peel. This to me changes everything. I think Pegula had a head-to-head history win over Rybakina as well, but I don't think she had. This is her first win. I think since like 2023. Put all that to the side.
Sure.
Alvin, I think Iga and Jessica will be put out of the top four if this kind of form continues. She's just playing cleaner, stronger, handles their pace. Both players were redlining at multiple times against that top four. I think Amanda comes in at a very strong 3-4 in that level, just because sometimes her variance of play can be up, it can be down a little bit. Not for what she can do, just the overall. She had some great three setters in this tournament. Came back from behind in a bunch of matches, which I thought was great. Testament to her new fitness and her new and a new mindset. But she can be three, she can be four. On a great day, she can beat number one, right? And we've seen that. Still needs to power through and win a slam, right? And kind of get to that level, although she's
Sure.
she finals of Wemby, right? And semis of US, or what was her next,
Amanda,
or was it final US?
she final Wimbledon, final US Open. Yep. Back to
Final
back.
US. That's what I was thinking. So final two back to back, pretty darn close, if you ask my opinion. She's clearly here to stay. But I look at those two as going out. I also look at Paolini and a few others as perhaps not quite regaining that top four spot. I look at others like Madison. I look at others like Badosa. It's going to be tough sledding getting back into that top 10, Alvin. It's going to be very, very tough. I don't want to get too far ahead, but just to say, I think that Elena Rybakina is full on into that top four. I think Coco's still there. By the way, shout out to Coco. Her forehand has never looked better. I have ad nauseum, to your point, complained about the serve and the forehand for so long. Her forehand looked great. I mean, not good, great. Big, confident, hitting it through the court, not just going heavy, not just going cross court. She takes care of some of these little double faults and a little bit of maybe just trusting that a little bit more. Let Gavin McMillan get a little bit more time in on that thing. She's only getting better, Alvin, and she's going to continue. If you're winning 2 slams and you still have room to improve, that's a lot of good in your corner. That's the four to me. You got Amanda, you got Arena, you got Elena, and you got Coco. That's your new top four, in my opinion, from what I saw this past week.
I'm not so quick to when you start. I look at it just a little bit differently, and
Sure.
it's not nuanced really. I think we just fundamentally feel a little bit differently about ego right now.
Yep.
To your point about Coco, right? I think we need to keep in mind that Coco's only 21 years old, and this is something that
And she's only 21.
She's
She
only
will
21.
always be top four because of that.
That's something that I'm going to put that off until our WTA year end conversation, because I think that's something that we really need to keep in mind. And I always look at these things through, where is this player on their journey of their career, right? So when you start to look at the rest of these women, like Arena's 27,
Yep.
right? Elena's 26, Iga's 24, Amanda's 24, right? So I think right there you've got 4 women, 5 women. I can't even count my own math. 4 women between the ages of 24 and 27 who are in the top 6 in the world right now. Jessica's 31. Like, let's just call a spade here, right? She's much closer to the end of her career than she is the beginning.
Mother time is undefeated.
She peaked late. I think she's done a fantastic job to be a true stalwart of this tournament. She's made this tournament 3-4 years in a row, and considering she almost went from other tour player to top 10 player, and then like once she figured it out, she's like, this is where I belong. So but she is 31 years old. I would imagine within 2 years or so we're probably saying goodbye to Jessica, on her own, like on her own account. Like
100%.
She doesn't really have much left to prove. Like maybe give it another year to go for a Grand Slam, but if she doesn't win one, I think we hold her career in the same regard, right?
Same high regard, I might add.
Extremely high regard.
And I hope she takes over and becomes WTA president or at some level, because she's just too much embodies everything that is good and professional about the game. And I love her. I just love her in general. So keep going.
Fair. So, okay. So now when you start talking about like the way that we view players' prime, right? You would say Arena is firmly in hers. Yep. Elena is probably in hers, right? That 26 to 28 range. Okay, boom, we got 26, 27. Fantastic. And they hit like crack heads like bulls, right? Then it's like Hancock, like, and then with with Will Smith and Charlize Theron in the sky.
Charlie's,
Boom,
yep,
right?
yep,
Just makes no kind of sense. Just more lightning, more lightning.
yep,
It's great. But then Iga and Amanda being 24, like Iga's won how many Grand Slams? 6. She is one Australian away from the career Grand Slam, right? And she's still coming into her prime age. Amanda is like has just another player has entered the competition. Like
yep,
we got Amanda this year, the best version of Amanda this year after being away from the game for a little while and showing flashes before that. But
yep,
now she's here. She's still getting better. She's looking at 2026 like this is my time to win a Grand Slam and really challenge for the top spot, like truly challenge for the top spot.
true.
So now when I'm looking at that's what I consider the top 4. I feel like Coco is probably the one that's. It's hard to say that she won a Grand Slam this year, right? What am I going to say about Coco? Like that I haven't said about Coco. Like a bad
Only
day
that
is
only going to
6.
get better.
Only going to get
Her
better.
bad,
Her bad day is
her
6 in the
bad.
world.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And I think this speaks more towards the kind of the not necessarily parity, but like we just had a year and where 4 different women won a Grand Slam.
And a
A
fifth one,
fifth woman won the year in championships, right?
right.
And it's all kind of, Arena got they get presented her with the year number 1 in the middle of this tournament. Like she
Yep,
is year number 1. She won 1 Grand Slam. She had a fantastic year, but there are a lot of other women who said walk away from this year going, I had a great year too.
yep,
I had a fantastic year as well, and
yep,
a different 1,000 result here and
yep,
there. I think Arena just had no dips all year long, like
yep.
no dips, and that's
Consistency, and we're gonna agree to disagree. I think it is a great argument that it can only be solved with time, and going into next year. And I look forward to seeing it. I'll be honest, and I hope you're right. I really do. Um, we don't have any disagreements on JPEG. I think she's clearly on closer toward retiring than she's been to a handful of surgeries. She's had some and just playing some great tennis right now. So proud of how she did. And speaking of, I think had the closest match with Rybakina of all the matches. With her either 6-4 or whatever, maybe 6-4 in the third. So just saying, it certainly was fiercely contested as it always is with Jessica. You're never going to get out of there with an easy match. So anyway, I look forward to it. I just feel like those players are on notice, and there's another 3 or 4 that are on notice of exiting the top 10 that may not get there at this rate. And I just think it's because once we have a newcomer, as you said, into the octagon, well, the problem is that they got to kick somebody out. They don't make room for 15 in the top 10. So that's kind of where we are now. And that's the neat thing about this thing going into next year.
that's an interesting, just kind of I don't know. We can talk about it here. I think it's fine to talk about it here.
Yeah.
The next 8, right? We take the top 8 in the tour finals, but the next 8 is a very interesting group in itself. Like, do I look at kind of going in order here? Mira Andreeva's at 9, Alexandrova 10, Bencic, Claire Towson, Lena Noskova, Alina Svitolina, and then Emma Navarro, and then Osaka, right? Do I really think any of those women are going to supplant the ones ahead of them? Like, there's actually one that I do think will. I'm going to save it for
Yeah.
that year and wrap up. But
Sure.
Mira probably should have been in the event. Like, that's the weird thing. Like, had it
She was
not been for that mishap,
right.
like getting
Right.
into was it Tokyo?
On paper, I think that she was 8-ish, whatever the
Right.
number was, right? So,
But yeah, I think we start looking at. I mentioned age earlier. Like
yep,
someone like Svitolina is 14 in the world. She's 31 years old. Like to be top 8 at the end of the year, you need to be playing a full schedule and
yep,
playing at the highest level. Like finishing semifinals or better at a couple Grand Slams in a year. It's not easy, especially with the top 6 that we just mentioned that are like crushing it right now. They're crushing it. Um, Emma Navarro was kind of in that space last year, and then she
I was
took
going
a
to
step
say
back
that
this year.
the 2 I was going to say that have a shot, Mira to me is just a matter of time.
Sure.
The 2 that have a shot to me are Osaka and Navarro. Period. End of story. The rest of them to me, buddy. I hope they cash in on the frequent flyer miles and whatnot. Alvin, the game is just continuing to move forward. One of the things people don't fully get, in my opinion, I'm just going to be quick about this because it's the biggest and yet simplest thing to understand. every week those players go out and go the distance, they get better. Arena has gone the distance in so many tournaments this year. She has few bad days. That's not to say she can't be beaten. She can be outright beat. Anybody can.
Case in
But
point. Yeah.
your word profile gets so small, and that type of player has to play so well on a given day that it just becomes unlikely over time. You have two other factors from playing all week. Confidence, you can win
Mm-hmm.
on bad days, and you win different ways because you've had to, right? Think of the effect of the Beatles had when they had to play all those different songs and create their own music when they were at the old German club, the old club in Germany back in the day when they were creating all this. They had to create music, right? They had to play all the time. So you start learning how to figure this out pretty quickly. Confidence, ranking, and now you have the ability to win on bad days, week in, week out. So long as you don't go through a major injury,
Yep.
you are actually playing better. Now look at the opposite. The player that played only one or two matches, while their body is fresh and their fitness is there, mentally they don't believe. Point wise, they don't have the ranking to supplant / be seated over. They might even play that player sooner in the next tournament, certainly the next year when points roll off. And here's the third. Deep down, there's blood in the water for them and not the other way around. So it's not just that player's playing good ball right now. It's that blood's in the water on the other side.
Yep.
And now you're in a tailspin. You just can't really avoid it. You'll be doing good if you are. Bencic will be doing good to hold seed in the tournaments coming up, Alvin, and that's just what it is. Not just her age and everything else. It's Svitolina too, and they are phenomenal players, great players. Love them to death. Svitolina's married to my main man, Gail Monfils, so she'll always be a favorite of mine, and her son has had a great year this year. And mom, hats off to her. I'm just talking the tennis right now.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 or 3 more players have now bumped into. Alvin, we're forgetting about Paula Badosa, who hadn't even been around most of the year, who was like 7 or 8 in the world.
She's broken.
Just saying.
Paola's broken. She's
regardless.
broken.
But she was top 10 coming into this year. She'll be lucky to get back top 20, let's be honest. So this is what I'm saying. I just feel like we're at a point where handful of those names you mentioned when they call it a day, is up to them. I'm not Kreskin. I'm not sitting here with a crystal ball. That's not my decision to make. They will not be top 10 relevant. They may not be top 15 relevant with these because your Paulinis aren't going anywhere. They're getting bumped down. They're not pushed to round of 32. They're just going to get pushed from 4 and 5 down to 7 or 8 as seeds do. So they're still going to be playing good ball. So I just say it to you, Alvin, I just feel like at some point we're now kind of weirdly getting into this new top 4 that can all beat each other on a given day. And they're all pretty darn athletic, pretty darn tall, and have weapons on all sides. The one player that's still remaining to get her last weapon figured out is the youngest and perhaps the most athletic. So when she gets that figured out, and starts to have twice as many aces, double faults. Well, right now she's double faulting more than she's acing. She will add to her 2 Grand Slams. And at that point, it could really be over. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, and the other 8 you just mentioned don't have weapons on both.
Right.
Don't have
That's the kicker.
athleticism on both. And they do not have the ability to either take your time away or go through you. And both of those things, the top 4, dare I say the top 6 have.
And I think that's the thing that like I want to make sure we don't skip over. It's more of a testament to the depth of the top 6 right now.
That's right.
Like, and we're even leaving out like Zheng can win, right? She's been kind of banged up a little bit. She was in this event last year. Like she'll be, if she's healthy, I think she is a tall, good mover with big weapons.
She is one of those that would have been
She's one of them.
4 or 5.
She's one of them.
That's
right,
coming
exactly.
down to 8, 7 or 8. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
So
what do you do with that?
Yeah, exactly. So like, I mean, do I think so Jasmine Paolini kind of not necessarily came out of nowhere. Well, last year was her breakout year. She figured some things out, right? Finals, French Open, Wimbledon, back to back. Okay, makes this event fantastic. we were all maybe expecting a little bit of a drop from her. I think a testament to her is getting back into this event this year, right? Not top 4, but okay, she got in the event. She was 6, I think 6 coming in. I think
Yep.
you look at someone like Madison probably doesn't get back here next year. Madison had 4 good weeks last year of the season. Like she wins the warm-up event before Australia. She wins Australia. She semifinals Indian Wells. Like that was the top of her year. Granted, good run.
Yeah.
That'll
Great
that'll
time to
that
have 2 good weeks.
that'll do it.
4 weeks.
That will
Yep.
do it.
Yep.
But yeah, like for her to come back with, maybe regressing back to her norm, like her norm is 15-ish in the world. Like that's usually where Madison is. But
For a former Slam finalist in 2017, a phenomenal second chapter. And to my point, she's on the other side, in my opinion, closer to that, that golden sunset more than she is on the side of having a third chapter. Most players never have a third chapter. They're lucky to have 2, 2 chapters. I think she's certainly in that third, and that on the closer to the other side of things, calling it a day. However, great year for her. To my point, we know she may not be in that conversation for the top 4, top 8 after this, just due to injuries and health alone, let alone
yeah,
the other things that are factors. So that's all I'm saying. I just feel like it's, to your point, parity. But I want to speak to one last point too. And they are hitting their way in and knocking these other pegs down a bit. They're not winning and grinding through. They are hitting themselves through. And the reason why it's got so strong is that those players in the other side of the Swiatek, uh, vortex, she's now proven, buddy, if you want to handle players like me and the JPEGs, if you want to go through players like me, you got to bring it. And the tour has now responded with, okay, challenge accepted. And that's where we are. And so the Swiateks and Pegulas aren't going anywhere, for the next four or foreseeable slams. But now we have that, in my opinion, this new top 4 that's coming in, and tennis is the better 4.
yeah. I say this all the time. I am so happy with where the women's game is right
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
It's like every time you get to round of 16 of an event, like it's on and popping. It's on and
Yeah.
popping. And I like the, with Anisimova, like, kind of rising towards the forefront of the women's rankings here, you're starting to get some new permutations and combinations of matchups that prior to this year, she had never played Iga before, right? They'd never played before Wimbledon. And then they've played, it's like, they went from never playing to playing 3 times. Like
Right.
we're getting new data. Her and Sabalenka
Right.
have a pretty good matchup as well. And then you add Rybakina into this, and it's just we're lucky as tennis fans.
Very much so.
Like obviously Australia is not too far away.
Yep.
I'm obviously looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic tournament, and I think it's nice that the Arena is the best player in the world right now, but it's not as clear cut as it may seem. I feel like if you look at Wimbledon to now, the last 6 months of the year, it looks a little bit tighter. It looks a little bit tighter. So that means I'm very, very excited for what's going down in Melbourne. All these ladies get their well-deserved rest and then continue to entertain us in a couple weeks. Let's change gears and maybe do a little preview. The event's already happened, but started. The men are now in Turin. Alvin puts on his "Make Turin Matter" hat. Obviously, we have things happening at the top, right? With Alcaraz and Sinner literally playing for the number 1 spot. We talked about, on the women's side, there were four slam winners this year. We had 2 on the men's side. Okay, split them. We're within points of each other here at the top of the rankings. Let's play for it. Roll the ball out there and see what happens. So that is exciting. But then also at the bottom of the 8, were you keeping up with what was happening with your boy Musetti and Felix and Novak being the foil? Okay, so I'm gonna catch everyone else up who may not be up to date. Okay, so coming into Paris, right? Musetti has got this 8th spot, right? He's got the 8th spot. He wants to make Turin. He's playing every tournament he can to just try to distance himself from the Medvedevs and the Bubliks and the Felix Auger teams of the world. Like, I want to get into Turin. Great.
Yep.
He loses like in the second round of Paris. Felix makes a run to the final, right? Leapfrogs him, right? Felix is in. Musetti's out. Lorenzo, damn. Okay. All right. We've got 2 tournaments left. 2 250s. One in Greece. One in France. Okay.
Yep.
Felix is entered into the one in France. Musetti's entered into the one in Greece, in Athens, right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So so Felix goes, you know what? I did really well at this 1,000. I'm sitting at 8 right now. I'm gonna let it lie. I'm gonna take my week off, and if I get in, I'm going in rested. If I don't, whatever, it's all good. So Felix pulls out of the event, and I think it's in Metz, right? Okay.
Yep.
Musetti is just trying his ass off. Okay, he needs to win the Athens 250 indoor event. Indoor event. He's never won an indoor event in his life, right? He has to win the indoor event to get into Turin in Italy in front of the home crowd,
and has to go through one Novak Djokovic.
One Novak Djokovic. So yeah, Djokovic is the 1 seed. Lorenzo's the 2 seed. This gets better. Novak Djokovic's brother is the tournament director of this event, right? Which is the only reason why Novak is playing, right? It comes out in the middle of the tournament that that Novak is gonna. The question is like, okay, Novak is in Turin. Is he gonna play? Right. The assumption for a lot of people is like, no, he's not gonna play. He's not gonna do that. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't care. In the middle of the tournament, an announcement comes out. I think it was from Gaudenzi. It was like Novak's coming to Turin. He's gonna be in. Yep. Novak quickly responded with like, I didn't say that. Let's handle this when we need to handle this, which will be after the tournament, right? So this is amazing. Like, for me, the guy who wants year-end championships to matter, I'm eating this up with a spoon, right? Okay. So Lorenzo almost loses to 40-something-year-old Stan Wawrinka in this tournament.
Saw that.
It somehow gets down match point.
42 actually. I think.
Yeah, 41 going on 42. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Match point down a match point against Stan, gets through that. All right. So Lorenzo's down here on his 9th life, scratching, clawing, like something like 6 weeks in a row he's been playing, just trying to, like, beard growing, trying to get into Turin. Gets into the finals. He's got Novak on the other side of the court, and they get into it, right? Great match. They go 3.
Excellent.
Novak, turns back the clock, lost the first set, wins the next 2 sets. Lorenzo is just, like, destroyed. Oh, God. Okay, I gave it everything I had. Well, whatever. They're coming to the net. They, post-match, shake hands. Novak apparently tells him at the net, I'm not going to Turin. Don't worry about it. You're good. Lorenzo's face lights up like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. But, like, he really could have, like, used that information before the tournament. Like, he's out here killing himself trying to qualify. So the tournament started today. We're recording on Sunday night. The tournament started today. Catch up on update yourself on how things are going. We'll see where we land in a couple days, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, and next year this won't happen, right? They're gonna cut the freeze the rankings after Paris. There's no, like, once the 1,000's over, as they should. This quirky little nonsense here of Novak not letting Lorenzo off the hook before the tournament starts to make sure that his brother gets all the players in the event that are signed up for it. It's like, it's the best. It's the best.
That definitely had reeked of some underhandedness. But to be honest, I'm gonna say it right here. First of all, it was a great match. That's number one. Once again, Lorenzo Musetti is proving his 6-8 in the worldness to me. Just absolutely a very entertaining match. 3 hours or so, if it maybe a little more. Alvin, it's a shame that as much drama as is around Novak Djokovic, that he is so darn relevant. The fact that number 3, let's just call him what he is, he's legitimate number 3 in the world. Off of Grand Slam, I'm going to call it off of the ranking and points that matter scale. I'm not talking the ATP calendar points per round scale. He's still number 3 in the world. And it is a shame that some of these guys are 10 plus years his junior, are not able to go through the wall that is Novak Djokovic. And so while I hear you and I understand he could have let him know early, he could have let the people know before, I get all that. But
Nah, you don't do that.
the man has won 24 slams. He gets any and all love that he is due, and he's due quite a bit. I'm saying you deserve Lorenzo to be told at the net. He did you a solid by beating you first and then telling you, hey, by the way, you're welcome. You know what I mean? Because he's really given up his spot. And I also appreciate him not going there half, you know, gonna try and then let's face it, not really being able to compete and keeping that spot from someone else. And so I I'm more annoyed. I don't mean annoyed in a bad way. It's hard to beat the best of all time, but I'm more annoyed that Lorenzo wants to make his case, beat Novak.
Beat
And
Novak.
beat Novak. You want to be the
Beat
man?
him.
Beat the man. He's right there in front of you. He's 38 years old. You know what I mean? If that's what it's going to take, beat him. You know what I mean? And I thought it was a very good match. It was actually ironic to me that Novak played his forehand so much in that first set. And they say, oh, let me change it up a little bit. I thought he was actually being quite effective, even though he lost that set. I thought Musetti got a little bit lucky on some passing on a few passing shots. But it was funny to me how of all the things to pick up on, then you start leaning in on the backhand. I mean, at that point, it was over. The two-hander of Novak is not going to lose that matchup too many times to the one-hander. But that whole match, to me, still shows Novak's relevance. And quite frankly, a match like that he can still do. And he found he was having fun. My only problem is it's the Novak farewell tour is going to extend another 6 months, 6 months to a year. And, at that point, to me, it's what he's due. In my opinion, I think it's time, not because of the level of tennis he can play, but just due to the every other tournament. Is he going to pull out or not? Is he healthy or not? And that's the drama and all that I feel like, I'd like to see, him just going off to the sunset for the rest of the tour's sake and my own anxiety, not for Novak's tennis.
Yeah, it's to your point though. Like, yeah, and I joke a lot about Turin, and I was very very entertained by this whole Musetti's journey to return to Italy in the top eight. But he didn't finish in the top eight. He's nine. He's nine. He got in on a technicality.
Technicality.
Novak gave him a spot.
Was
He
Novak
did not
going to be
earn a spot.
What was Novak going to be?
Novak's like 3 or 4, like 4. Like, so he's like Novak. Yeah.
I
It was
didn't know how high he was on points. I didn't know because he hadn't played a whole lot of the other events.
right. I think he's played 20 events this year or something like that. So I don't have the rankings right here in front of me, but he's somewhere around 4, I believe.
101st
But
title. 101st title
that's a
of his
that's
career.
a lot.
101. Can you believe that?
That's
Good
no.
God.
No,
101. I think he won. I think that was his 71st hard court title as well. 71 titles. 71. Some of these guys haven't even played at 71 events, let alone won them.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But
He's
yeah,
good. He's
so
just good.
I want to kind of look at the two events, both year championships for both men and women, right? The women, and I kind of I said this earlier about it feeling like a fifth slam, because of the quality of players there, slightly different surface, and then also they have the benefit of playing the same format all the time, right? It's 2 out of 3 at a Masters, it's 2 out of 3 at a Grand Slam, so this is no different than the rest of them, except for there is no week 1 to get yourself into the event. It is the event starts now, right? On the men's side, and like it feels like winning this is taking something. It takes a lot of almost like a Herculean effort from one of these women to not only win the event, but someone like Rybakina to run wall to wall, drop no matches, get the full purse of 5.3 million. Like, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. On the men's side, you never really hear people talk about winning the event. You hear people like Musetti talking about getting in, wanting to
Getting
qualify, wanting to be
right.
recognized. And so I feel like
Sure.
whereas the women's feels like a fifth slam, the men's almost feels like the new
Another
version of the
1,000.
Pro Bowl. Of
Yeah.
the Pro Bowl, like if you take an
Sure.
American football analogy, it's like
Yeah.
it's an honor to be not to be
Right. To be so
nominated or to be
sure.
selected. I've qualified for it. Like, do we even? I mean, it's like Lorenzo has no aspirations of winning the event.
Right.
Felix, I mean, hell, maybe Felix could win the event. We just assume it's going to be one of the top two, but it's a lot of those two and the rest of them, which brings kind of like makes this event feel a little anticlimactic. Except for this year,
Sure.
we're getting some climax
Sure.
this year, but
Do
that's
you
kind of
feel
where
that would be the case out the top two?
rephrase that question. What do you mean? Do I feel like this would
You
be
feel
anticlimactic?
if would you feel the same if it's a big if Carlos and Yannick were not part of the conversation, or they had, like the women's side, had two other cohorts that won the other two slams of the four?
Uh, that's a good question. So let's even look at this juxtapose last year to this year's event,
Sure.
right? Last year there was really nothing to play for. Like it is the year in championships. Sinner had year in number one wrapped up. He had won, two of the four Grand Slams. Carlos won two of the four Grand Slams, but Carlos had a lot of in between, like a lot of kind of not great at the end of the year, not great in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Kind of came in on fumes, flamed out early. He was a little sick
Yeah.
last year, so it didn't really have a lot of oomph to
Right.
begin with.
Right.
And we've got more or less the same, very very similar field this year. You swap a Shelton for whoever else made it last year. Maybe it was even Medvedev. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
would it be the same? I think the issue I have is that those two were just so far ahead of the rest of them. I would even
And
be
that's
happier if I'd be happier if Novak was in the event. Just give me something I can believe in, like that could make this feel less like a
less lopsided.
foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
kind of
that's
like
fair. And
the tour at large right now. Like
yeah.
this is a microcosm of what we've seen all year long. So in that effect, it's quite appropriate.
I what I said earlier about players that go all week, players that get to this level, they start playing at a little bit of a sharper and a higher level. And I say that to say all the things I said before. You play longer, you're winning more, you're defending better, you're being a little bit sharper, you're a little more calm in the rough seas of 15, 30-second serves. You're just you hold that 122 body serve a little better and get that ball 6 more feet deep. In a game where 2 inches can mean the matter, of 4 to 6 feet, what I mean, of depth and placement. You know, 2 inches is a lot. You know what I mean? So you can get that ball deflected it just enough to get it just deep enough, and that guy decides to hit that back and versus the inside out. You're dealing with so many small, minute adjustments. Those top two, whatever happens this tournament, will continue to have their dominance on the tour, and which is unfortunate, no fault of their own. But it also means the rest of the guys that are in that outside of Novak have yet to really get to that level. And so what I'm hoping in this tournament, I saw De Minaur had a pretty good match today against Carlos, is it's the best I've seen Alex De Minaur play to date. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I'm hoping this happens, and I'm hoping more of this happens. I'm glad I saw that match before we came on the podcast. I'm hoping that Fritz and Ben and De Minaur and whoever the other handful of guys are, Medvedev even, I'm hoping that they start to Felix had he got in, start to really push and see how much closer they can get. I was proud of Felix going as deep as he did against Yannick, in the weeks before in Paris. I was proud of these. He looks sharp. Looks very sharp, and you like to see these guys starting to at least close the gap a little bit. And how do you do that? You play them more. You play the other top guys more, and that's my thing. So I'm to your point. I agree with you. Foregone conclusion for the eventual, perhaps, but the closer they keep getting, the more relevant they create, uh, the more relevance they create, and they just might continue to claw, get another set here and there, get a little closer, get a little more belief, get deeper. and maybe that in itself can lend itself to a decent 2026. I always look at this tournament as a bit of a prize money game and an end of the year, send off,
Sure, sure.
and what it is. But it also, to me, it bodes for the next year because let's face it, these, the guys that know, the rankings pretty much locked up between those two, as are the slams. But to be that, it only takes a couple, Alvin. It takes one or two matches for somebody to come through and ring the bell and ring somebody's bell and let the other four believe that it's possible to knock them off. And I, what better place than for it to happen in Turin?
I would, so just to clarify, so Felix did get in because
Okay, perfect.
because of Novak pulling out, and Felix is going to be
Oh,
playing
right, right,
Yannick.
right. So Felix is going to
He's
be
in
in.
Yannick's.
It was Lorenzo
He,
that got in due to Novak.
right. Yeah.
Right, right, right,
So
right.
Felix is in Yannick's group, and they'll play there. I think they're opening against each other in that. Their first matches will be against each other. So that's an interesting one because of Felix. It feels like he's kind of made a mini leap in the last few months.
I'd say
Obviously,
so.
took a set off center at the U.S. Open, played him tough in Paris.
Yep.
He's coming into this event nice and fresh, feeling good about himself. Probably.
Yep.
I'm really interested to see that match. It'll be tomorrow. At some
Yep.
point. It should be tomorrow. I'm gonna keep an eye on that one because I feel
Yep.
like that would be if Felix can get maybe get a set off of center, like that is enough to take away from an event like this, like in itself. Like you don't need to win the match. You don't need to win the tournament. Like come in, stick him in the first match,
Yep.
take a set.
Yep.
That like starts to put in a little bit of a little feather in the cap, like as we move forward
Yep.
into next year.
Yep.
Can we start to
Creates
close this
a
gap a
little
little
doubt
bit?
on one side and a whole lot of confidence
Yeah.
getting that
Can
avalanche of the snowball going.
Taylor sneak out a W against Carlos in group play? Like this isn't best out of 5, it's best out of 3, right? So it's best out of 3. Can we sneak one? Can you sneak out a win here just to
Yep.
keep them honest? Keep them
Yep.
honest. Keep them thinking about it. Yeah. So that's kind of what I look forward to this week. I'm gonna go ahead and make. I don't like to usually make predictions. I'm gonna make a prediction.
Okay.
Okay. I think this is Sinner's tournament to win.
Okay.
As much as those who listen to the show know about my affinity for Carlos, and maybe I even prefer him slightly to Yannick. That's fine. We can all have favorites.
We all have. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all got favorites. It's fine. I'm a human.
Yep.
I'm a human just like you guys. But when we look at the rankings, and I mentioned they're so close right now, they're separated by like 1,000 points in the rankings only because of the timing of this tournament. They're neck and neck. They're not really. I mean, they are. They are. Yannick has performed, I think, a little bit better this year than Carlos has, given the amount of tournaments that he's played. Right? They've played about the same amount of tournaments, but Yannick played 9 months this year? 9 out of the 12 months. He took a little vacation in between Australian Open and French Open, more or less.
Yep.
But when he's played, he's been damn near flawless. I think he's lost before the finals once.
Yeah.
Maybe twice. Maybe Shanghai, and then the one other event there was he lost to Bublik early at a warm up event before Wimbledon, right? So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Like let's say he plays out a full schedule this year.
Right.
Okay. Maybe he's not as fresh at the end of the year because he's played more whatever, but with more points to play with, maybe he's got more of a lead over Carlos. I don't know. I'm just saying I feel like indoor center is a whole different beast.
Tough to
Home
beat.
crowd.
Yep.
Yeah. I think he pulls this out. I feel like he pulls this out. But I will be happy to be sitting in this chair in a week's time talking about this event, and I'm wrong. That'd be cool.
Yep.
That would be cool. Do you care to make any predictions, or are you gonna stay away from it?
None. He's played very well. He's playing some good ball right now. My concern for guys like him that have been playing this well going in, have they played well already? Are they coming down at all? Paris wasn't that long ago. We're coming into this event now. He's a professional. He's going to be in shape. He's going to be well rested. But is he Is he going to be as hungry? I think the home court advantage will be a lot in his favor. I guess he's been playing pretty well for the last several weeks. And so at some point, that either means that's his norm and it's going to be the same lights out for 2026.
I mean, I think it is his norm. I think that's what he's been doing.
For the other 8 guys, I'm in the top 10. I'm hoping that's not the case. And if he's been playing really well, and this is now the time to kind of come down a little bit. To me, the early rounds are the time to get him. I mean, he plays 6 matches. He plays 4 matches in, it's over. I mean, I agree with you, but I still think that Carlos and him still have magic, and I am hoping for a repeat of the French where we get fireworks once again. I felt like the other 2 were a little bit of lopsided affairs. I am really looking forward to another, not in the French in the sense that, because Yannick had him in the French and let him off the hook, in a all-time, in a instant classic kind of way. And that's what I'm hoping we see from Novak, and we see from Carlos. And Carlos looks save for that weird haircut, he looks like he's in fine form.
Yeah, and I think looking back at the match he played against Cam Norrie in Paris, he came off the match off the court and said, some matches you learn from, some losses you learn from, some you forget. This is one I just need to forget. It's a bad day out there. Don't look too far into it. I mean, he had won X amount of tournaments in a row leading up to that. The very next time back out, he looks like he's right back in form. So I mean, you got a guy, Carlos 67-8 on the year so far. Yannick 53-6. Like, what are we talking about?
6 to 7 matches or 6 and 8 matches they lost all year.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
All year,
and they still have
all year.
What do they play in this one if they both get to the finals? Another 6 matches.
It'll be, so you play 3 in the round robin, and then
group stage, and then
semifinals, finals. So it's five total. 5 total. Yeah,
that's incredible. Wasn't there a year that Novak did a 72-5, or was it? I don't know why that number sticks in my mind. He got player of the year.
I think that's about right.
ESPN, wasn't it 72-5? And you're just thinking about it. And I thought no one would ever kind of equate to that. One of these guys will likely get, Center could get 72-6, in not that much time. You know what I mean? That's a lot. It's
a bit of a joke.
That's what our stats don't. That's what the stats don't capture, Alvin, is how great that is. As far as playing that well for that long, and all the L's you are handing out along the way. These guys are only 54, 55% better, than the people they play against, but they are winning 90% of the time. They are 55% better, and that's tough sledding, buddy. That is tough sledding, being a guy going up against. There is no room for error. I mean, zero. You hit that second serve, and you're like, I mean, I got to be careful. I mean, you know what I mean? He is studying. Yannick is studying your. His shoulders look a little slumped right now. I bet he's down on himself. I'm gonna get him right here, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I can't wait till we do our year review, because what I said about the women,
it's gonna be fun.
I feel doubly about the men. I feel like we got about 8 moving vans, you know what I mean, that are out front and are ready to just replace, and it'll be a strong. This will be a strong wake up call for some of the players that are nearing the end of their, proverbial rope this year going into it. And I think Australia could see. Forget our reigning 24 Grand Slam champ, who can play for 2 more years the way he's playing off and on, because he's deserved it and he's there. I'm talking about the rest, the best of the rest that are there, that are hanging on, in my opinion, by a little momentum and a little bit of just inertia. That there's about, in the top 20, I think there's about 8 moving vans, and I've made some notes. I can't wait till we have that end of year review.
Absolutely. All right, we can put a pin in it there. I just want to go back. Novak 2015, 82-6.
82-6. God.
82-6.
You got to be kidding me.
Not 53-6. So he's had Sinner's year plus 30 more wins.
Plus, right.
Go to sleep. Everybody go to sleep. All right. Put a pin in it there. Best of three. We are